Hello everyone, I'm forecaster Nathan Kitchens here with Convective Weather, updating your video forecast a little after 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I just wanted to remind everyone that I will be posting these video forecasts each Monday now. And as the severe weather season begins to ramp up, I will post more frequent video updates as well. So let's take a look at the radar map. We have a lot to discuss today. The threat for severe thunderstorms, especially for Tuesday and Wednesday. A good reminder that the severe weather season is starting to, we're beginning to really enter that time where we begin to see severe thunderstorms. Let's begin by taking a look at the radar. We do have a fairly active map today. We have a clipper system moving through the Great Lakes. This did produce a pretty good swath of snowfall in these areas from southeast Minnesota through southern Wisconsin. The Chicagoland area got in on some snowfall, a few inches of snow that way, and now northern parts of Indiana getting in on that snow. Reports of very slick roadways up that way towards South Bend and Fort Wayne, and Gary getting in on that snow. And this system is pushing off towards the southeast, towards northern and central parts of Ohio, and this could come in just in time for the evening commute to create some problems, especially on I-75. But this clipper will be weakening, which is good news, and that coinciding with the daytime, late afternoon hours, that will help to keep the snow from really sticking on the roadways. But we do see a couple decent bursts. That could be enough to overcome those warmer surfaces to create some slick spots. So just be mindful of that and be careful out there this afternoon and this evening. A good reminder that Old Man Winter isn't finished with us yet. And you'll really notice that later this week as another shot of cold air comes in. We'll talk about that here as well later on in the video forecast. We have showers and storms across Florida, the central peninsula of Florida today. An active map here across the west with a showery day across the Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look at the temperature map across the country. We do have kind of a nation divided today from very warm temperatures. It's spring across the south, while the northern half of the country is hanging on to a winter feel. Look at this temperature range today. We have teens right now in parts of the northeast. We have 20s and 30s across the north through the Great Lakes, while we go from the upper 20s to low 30s in the Chicago area to the 50s down towards Evansville, Indiana, and we have 60s all across the south and 70s mixed in there as well. So a nation divided today. I thought that was an interesting temperature map showing the range from a spring-like south and a more wintry looking pattern across the northern parts of the country today. Let's look at the severe weather risk. Let's get into this for today. We have a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms. Like I said, the biggest risk will be coming for Tuesday and Wednesday. But today we certainly do have a marginal risk across, you can see, far western parts of Missouri. Let's get this full screen here from western Missouri through much of Kansas, central eastern Kansas, down towards parts of west central and far northeast panhandle of Texas. The main threat will be large hailers with some of these storms. We don't have a whole lot of moisture available, but certainly with the cold air aloft, we're going to see the potential for some severe hail in a few of these storms that develop. So we're going to have to watch this area from later this afternoon through tonight. And heading into tomorrow, this is where things begin to ramp up, get a little more interesting here. This is the Storm Prediction Center severe weather risk for our Tuesday. And notice we do have a marginal risk from much of Missouri down towards parts of Texas. We have a slight risk in the yellow from southwest Missouri down through northwest Arkansas, far southeast Kansas, and eastern parts of Oklahoma. Now, as we go throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to see a system move through a warm front lifting northward, and then as we get into this area here, and the severe weather risk gets in that warm sector tomorrow afternoon, we will see instability around, and we do expect discrete supercells to develop throughout tomorrow afternoon, and then gradually things will become more linear. Right now, it looks like storms will develop along that boundary from western Missouri through eastern Oklahoma. I would say between 5 and 6 p.m. Central Time. Expect that to be around that time frame when these storms begin to blossom across this area. This, again, the overall shear, I think, will favor discrete type of supercells developing, and we also could see this extend down into far northeast portions of Texas. Now, as we go throughout the evening, as this line of storms does begin to move off towards the east here, say towards central eastern Missouri, areas east of this risk area here, we're going to run into a less favorable environment because the some of the ingredients, such as the low-level jet, will be shifting northward towards northern Illinois, and we won't have all those ingredients together to really produce that severe weather. So the main threat tomorrow will be from southwest Missouri through northwest Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, and the main threat will be damaging winds and large hail. Those are the primary threats, and we cannot rule out some isolated tornadoes. I think that's the very low risk right now, but it is a possibility. So please be aware of severe weather risk tomorrow. And again, storms should initiate between 5 and 6 o'clock Central Time for this area for Tuesday. So let's go now into Wednesday, because it doesn't end here. We do also have another risk coming up for Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night, as we have a pretty elongated area of a slight risk from southern half of Illinois, and this does extend all the way into north central parts of Texas. And let's get this full screen here. The main threats throughout this period will be damaging wind and large hail again, but tornadoes will be possible as we won't have shear around. Storms will likely initiate, I would say, between 6 and 7 o'clock Eastern Time Wednesday evening. We're going to have a strongly sheared environment here. Discrete supercells are possible at the onset here across portions of northeast Texas and Oklahoma, but this will become more of an elongated band of storms along a frontal boundary here across this region. And again, large hail, damaging winds, the main threat, and there could be some rotating updrafts, enough shear to produce some rotating updrafts in this area across Oklahoma, southwest Missouri. We could see some isolated tornadoes, but again, main threat, damaging wind, and large hail. So again, the biggest area, as far as the biggest area in a risk for storms, will be coming up on Wednesday. So please be mindful of that. And now that we looked at the risk maps, let's go into some of the computer models and show you what the models are kind of showing for this time frame. I'm going to show you the NAM computer model for Tuesday. Well, we'll go forward here today. And you can see a couple storms, showers develop here across Kansas tonight. We're going to watch for some large hail in that area. And once we get throughout the day tomorrow, there will be a warm front looking northward here out of Missouri. And we will get into the warm sector of the system across southwest Missouri through eastern Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas here, ahead of this low pressure right in here. And as we move forward here throughout tomorrow evening, watch this right here, this line. This is a cold front. We're going to get in that warm sector for a period tomorrow afternoon. And then as this cold front begins to push through ahead of the front, we will have the aided uplift to produce discrete supercells along here from far northeast Texas through Oklahoma into southwest southern Missouri, northwest Arkansas tomorrow evening. We're going to have to watch this very closely. Again, large hail and damaging wind does appear to be our main threats in this area, but we cannot rule out some isolated tornadoes as well. And going forward into the Wednesday risk here, we will see an elongated band of thunderstorms developing across this area as another wave of low pressure moves through. You can see the storms developing by about late afternoon. Again, like I said, storms will probably initiate around 6 or 7 p.m. East or Central Time Wednesday evening. We'll see discrete supercells on the onset, but quickly becoming an elongated band of storms. Look at this here, Wednesday evening. This is actually the NAM computer model for 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Look at the thunderstorms from western Oklahoma through southern Missouri, and this does stretch all the way up into southern Illinois Wednesday evening. Again, damaging wind and large hail will be those main threats, and then you can see the storms beginning to push eastward through the Ohio Valley, and these will be weakening once they move towards that region by the time we get into Thursday. So a very active next several days, and you definitely want to stay tuned to your local weather forecast and make sure you have a way to get these weather alerts to you as severe thunderstorm warnings and watches are potentially issued over the next few days. And once the system moves through, we get a very active next several days. We're going to see another strong cool down coming. Here's a look at, well, before I get to that, I'm actually going to show you a couple more things. Let's look at the surface-based convective available potential energy, CAPE as we normally call it here. Basically, I want to show you what some of the models are showing as far as the ingredients for severe weather. You can see tonight we do see not much instability across Kansas. But once we get into the day on Tuesday, watch Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, we're going to get in the warm sector here along this cold front here, stretching from southwest Missouri down through western Oklahoma and northeast Texas. Look at these instability values here. Basically, I'm going to go with anything above 800 as the threshold for enough instability, enough energy in the atmosphere to be able to produce some severe thunderstorms. You can see the NAM model here depicting this very nicely across the southwest half of Missouri, down through central and eastern Oklahoma, where we do have those very nice instability values that will be high enough to certainly produce some severe thunderstorms. And once we get into Wednesday, watch how these values wane for a little while Wednesday morning, but watch what happens here. We get some really good instability Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening as another wave moves through. Look at these very high instability values, certainly very sufficient for some severe thunderstorms, as we do see kind of an elongated band here along this front of thunderstorms with damaging wind and large hail main threats. But of course, tornadoes cannot be completely ruled out. And then we will see the threat diminish later on Wednesday night, and that will be the end of our severe weather threat for this week. Now, after the system moves through, we're going to see another nice cool down coming later in the week. I'm going to show you the European model, long range, the way things are looking as we get past this system. You can see a big trough is going to push down across the eastern half of the country later on this week and into the weekend. Look at this deep trough showing up on the European model. By the time we get into next Saturday, this is by Saturday evening, look at this very deep trough across the eastern half of the country going all the way down to the Gulf Coast, while the western half of the nation stays in a very warm regime. So once again, this is a very familiar pattern we've seen over and over again. So the eastern half of the nation turning very cold later this weekend into next weekend, while the west stays very hot. Let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center. It's 6 to 10 day outlook here, and I don't know how well you can see this here, but again, below normal temperatures, very high probabilities across eastern parts of the country, warm across the west, and here's our precipitation outlook does show, it showcases below normal precipitation across much of the central and southern and western parts of the country, with some above normal precipitation, especially early in the period, across the East Coast, up towards Maine, and again up towards northern parts of Minnesota. So, to kind of recap things here, very active next few days shaping up for us with the threat for severe thunderstorms. Tomorrow, we're going to watch you guys from southwest Missouri through northwest Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon, or late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, for those storms to develop. Again, large hail damage and wind will be those main threats for you guys. And then once we get into Wednesday, we're going to see an elongated band of thunderstorms developing Wednesday evening, with these storms initiating around 6 or 7 p.m. Starting out as maybe some discrete supercells, but this will become more of a banded feature of storms here, with damaging wind and large hail main threats stretching from southern Illinois and down towards far northern parts of Texas. Well, as your latest video forecast, again, make sure you have a way to get these alerts to you, as we do have the threat for severe thunderstorms over the next few days. And stay safe, folks, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Thanks for tuning in.